Ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the department store at Valentine, at Halloween, or at Christmas, any forms of the grammarization and also the glorification of choosing the love and choosing the best present for your partner can be the fulfillment option for your own life. That kind of the notion strong exists. And also, if you live alone and when you get home and after you go to the society, your parents and your grandparents structurally and continuously ask you, when you get married, I like to see the face of the grandchildren, hurry up. That strong pressurization hinders the ability of the individual to choose what they want to do in their own life. We say inside of family that our life are dominated and contaminated by the strong notion surrounding the love. That's why we need to oppose this strong notion that exists, pre-existing in society. As Prime Minister, I'm going to bring you two constructive material. Number one, how under optician's paradigm, strong pressurization hinder the individual to choose the alternate option that potentially maximize the individual happiness. Secondly, as a counterfactor on our side of the house, how on our side of the house, without that strong notion, without a strong dominant narrative that the romantic love should be the primary source of the fulfillment, that individual can comparatively choose the best option for their own life. But before that, let me define and let me briefly set up what exactly we mean the fulfillment in a person's life. The fulfillment is a meaning that the spiritual or the material satisfaction for that individual. Not only the case of the romantic love, your life are determined by the fulfillment of the own spiritual satisfaction. For example, the clothes, food, or the schools, or any other choice that you can make can potentially maximize and fulfill the person's happiness and person's good mentality. And what we like to oppose in today's debate on our side of the house, particularly your choice surrounding the romantic love and choosing the love partner in itself is a primary source of the fulfillment of the individual's life. That kind of the norm we like to oppose on our side of the house. So the first issue about how the pressurization hinders the ability of the individual to choose the best happiness for them. Simply because the norms surrounding the romantic love are the culturally and historically and socially constructed and become the central value and the dominant value in the person's life. Two reasons here. One, about the intergenerational structure hinder the ability for that individual. Two cases. Firstly, about the vertical construction. Our existence and our life are predicated upon the consequences of someone's romantic love. The reason why I came here is my parents love each other and bring the baby me. That's why the existence of that individual and continuation and maintaining the society in itself is one of the present and gift from the parents. That's why the intergenerationally and vertical construction, individual's life are determined by the love. Secondly, the horizontal construction. Expanding the social media enable us to share the happiest memory and happiest experiences. That's why if your friends, if your cousins, if your sister, or if your brother hold a wedding ceremony, maybe you can share that photo or the movie in Instagram. That vivid and glamorous and beautiful images constrain and internalize the images. Love in itself is a primary and fundamental happiness for the individual's life. Secondly, about the media exposure in itself also hinder the ability for that individual. That's why the romantic drama or hugely consumed and created through the media and through the capitalistic society we need to regulate on our side of the house. Two reasons here. The second analysis is about the inside the relationship with the love partner and the friendship in itself hinder the ability. If you go to the school and have the mutual interaction with a friendship, also your friend asks you, how many chocolate did you get at the Valentine? How will you spend with your love partner at the Christmas? That kind of the strong notion gradually internalize the individual's love is a primary source of that individual. And more importantly, the relationship with the love partner in itself gradually internalize. If you are facing the turning point of your life, you may be asked by your partner, which is important, job or me? That kind of strong notion gradually internalize the individual mindset. What is the conclusion? It's about people who cannot catch up with that notion and that norm. Those individuals' happiness are hugely degraded. For example, the case of the women who like to work than the marriages, who like to choose the body carry in Japan, are structurally hindered. It is extremely difficult for them to choose their own life rather than the continuation of the marriage life. Or even if they can choose that choice is hugely blamed and criticized from society. Yeah, that choice is not so womanly choice. That strong pressurization hinder the ability. Or the case about the sexual minority, asexual, who does not have any intention to make and construct the love relationship, and hinder ability of that individual to choose that. On to my second issue. Before that, go.
The pressure to have children doesn't come from the norm that romantic love is the primary source of fulfillment, but instead a norm that things like children should instead fulfill you. Doesn't the existence of this norm actually justify people saying, I want to wait to have children until I find the right person?
So this is a comparison. Even if we consider your point of information, comparatively speaking, individuals' life can be released and can be revelated. That is a comparative analysis we'd like to bring you as a counterfactor on our side of the house. So the counterfactor is very simple. Every choice that you like to choose can be the possible option for the individual's life. Because if you are facing the turning point to choose the romantic relationship, or to choose the go to the good university, or to go study abroad, or to choose the job, you are completely and comparatively free from any forms of this coercive structure and pressurization from the society. And secondly, why it is so good and why it should be evaluated as a good option? Because the primary source, meaning that make a ranking of the individual satisfaction through the process of the internal and through the process of the external structure. The value of the life in itself should be decided by individual will, not to be decided by the other options. We are very proud to propose this policy.